Good afternoon, Mr. Tito. My name is Indra Lesmana. I am a student of English Literature, and this time I'm going to make short video about my draft proposal, or I called it like my thesis proposal. And in my draft proposal, I have made an analysis about politeness strategy. So I took linguistic as my uh, formal material, and I choose object material is French sitcom as an American sitcom. So the title is An Analysis of Politeness Strategy Reflected in French Sitcom Comedy by Martha Kaufman and David Crane. So in this video, or in this order of the proposal, there's a three order, or the first one is, which means the chapter 1 is including the introduction. So in introduction, it is also includes the background of the study. So background is the study is understanding, like the point of view, what is the study. So I choose linguistics. So the definition is linguistic is the study of human language, the scientific study of human language. So in linguistics, this study is an endeavor to shed light on some relevant linguistic aspect of politeness, which reveal the importance of politeness in social interactions. So it is very interesting, and also the background of the study, including some expert quotation. And background of study is to know what is the material that you really want to analyze and how interested that. So the next part is statement of the problem. So statement in the problem is more like a question. What is a problem that you want to formulate and want to settle? So the first one is my statement is what are types of politeness strategy can be found in French sitcom. Number 2 is what is the context of politeness strategy used in the series or the set. So that is the two statement of the problem. And point 3, scope and limitation. Scope and limitation is including this linguistic, particularly in pragmatics. So linguistic is a field, so the subfield is pragmatics, and also the study of pragmatics, there's also politeness strategy. So I use politeness strategy as a subfield of pragmatics to analyze the French sitcom by 6 character. And the next is goal of the study. So goal of the study basically like it's want to clarify and identify the material object as I choose is French sitcom. And number 2 is to imply the meaning of using politeness strategy in the daily conversation of a sitcom. And the function is obviously number 1 is to improve the writer knowledge and skill in analyzing, especially about politeness strategy. Number 2 is to give deeper information and broaden the horizon of politeness strategy in a language. And number 3 is to give it knowledge in a different culture using politeness. And the 6 the multi-card presentation. So it's basically like 3 steps what I am doing in this presentation. So number 1 is the chapter 1 is present introduction. Number 2 is related to the study or of literature. And number 3 is the research methodology. So that's for chapter 1. And we're heading to the next chapter, which is the chapter 2. And for number 2, or chapter 2, this part includes the related studies, to review of literatures, and theoretical frameworks. So the first one is related study. As I mentioned on my proposal, so there's a 3 related studies that I have seen some of their perspective, some of their things that they met. The first one is from Sylvia, so she is from University of Bengkulu, and number 2 is Atika, University of Padang, and the third one is Andi Siburian, and also he is from the University of Bengkulu. So the first one, Sylvia, she is using politeness strategy used by the Decor Visual Talk show. So that theory is using Brown and Lamson theory. And another one is Analysis of Politeness Strategy by Atika, which is applied on UKM debate of the University of Bengkulu. So she was using descriptive qualitative as a methodology, and they were collected by using transcript, video, point recorder, and orchestral tape, the sheet as the instruments. The third is a Shoima Talk Show presented by Andrew Siburian. So this is also using Brown and Levinson theory and politeness strategy. So number 2 is its review of literature. So a review of literature is about you understanding the background that you chosen, I choose linguistic. So linguistic is a scientific study of human language, and this subbuild of the linguistic. There's a pragmatic, which is pragmatic is part of politeness strategy that I have been chosen for this analysis. So, and the politeness strategy as well is in sociolinguistics, as politeness strategy as a spec acts that express concern for others and minimize the threat to self-esteem. So there's 4 types of politeness strategy. Number 1 is on the record strategy. Number 2 is positive, and number 2 negative, and number 4 is off records strategy, politeness strategies. And the last one is theoretical framework. So theoretical framework is what is theory that you have chosen. I choose the Brown and Levinson theory applied strategy. So there's 4. Number 1 is on record, negative politeness strategy, positive politeness strategy, and the fourth one is off record. So basically, theoretical framework is what is theoretical that you've chosen, and also it's also some article about some expert that also explaining about the same study. For chapter 3, it's the last one, or research methodology. So research methodology is including the first one is approach to the study. So I'm using the qualitative research because I'm analyzed based on the dialect from the script, and I transcribe whole dialogue, and then I use the script to see what utterance that used by each of the character in sitcom friends. And number 2 is data sources. So the data sources is taken from sitcom from 1 episode to 10 episode, which is it's completely on script, and also as the information. So Friends sitcom is an American situational comedy, or we call it sitcom, and it was aired on America in 1994. The writer is analyzing. I am analyzing because the writer found many politeness strategy. And number 3 is data collection. The data collection is also a step that what I'm gonna do with this analyzing. So the first step writer is to find a script, and number 2 is identify its conversation, and number 3 try to collect the written data. And number 4 is method of the analysis. Method of the analysis is basically like collecting the dialects of Friends sitcoms. So I collected 1 to 10 episode by the utterance, and also I transcribe into a data written. So it's and I'm using the theory of Brown and Levinson politeness strategy. And the last one is bibliography. So bibliography is actually what study that I have seen, like what is the example I have seen before. Maybe it can be on the books, on the Cambridge Press, on the journal. So bibliography is about mention what is the sources you've been taken, and yeah, it's all about sources. Yeah, I think that's all about the order. So the step of my draft thesis. So number 1 is the chapter 1 is introduction. It's including the background of the study. Number 2 is a research. Number 2 is number 2 is a research methodology, and number 3 is about a related study. So yeah, there's a 3. So I think that's all about my video. Hope that it is understandable, that you can also get the point what I mentioned. Thank you very much. Mr. Tito, and good afternoon.